Hey everyone. So today we're gonna add a new variant to our button component, and then we'll be creating another component which would be tag component. So in this video we'll be starting creating a new type there in this button component. I'll say it plain. So it's gonna be plain button, and just a moment, we'll add this. So now we added one more type to this particular button. So it's gonna look like this. As you see, there are two solid buttons, but one more button which is plain button which doesn't have any background, but we'll be adding some hover state to it. So let's see how it looks. So first of all, we'll be adding one more case here. So next to the secondary, I'm gonna say case with plain, and I'll add some more classes. So it would be, let me add break, and I'll be using that in app.tsx here. So I'll change type to plain, and let's see how it look without any classes. So it's gonna look like this, but we'll be adding color to the text itself. So let's add that. In this classes, I'll be adding uh, text as uh, text primary. So now our text is primary, but we'll be adding all the attributes like padding and rounded state, the rounded what we added in our old component types. So I'm gonna copy these p2 px rounded, and I'll be copying this as well. So I'll copy this. So text primary and other classes. So now it's plain, but it also have hover state. So we have to handle text over hover state. So I'm gonna say text white. So it would be like this. So this is solid, this is primary, this is secondary, and there is a plain type of button that we created. So this is how we can create another type just by adding another case to our switch statement. So it's pretty cool. We have created another button. So let's move towards our new component, which is a chip, I can say. So chip look like this. So we use it for this status or any other kind of thing like a tag, if you want to add some certain type of tag. So we'll create this today, and for this what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create another uh, file which would be chip.txt, chip.tsx, sorry, chip.tsx, and I'm gonna do chip equals to title, and that will return simple a div with some you know uh, bg primary for now, and it would be rounded. So let's see, we have to export it as well so that we can use that in another file. So I'm gonna use this in app.tsx. I'll create another section for it. So as I told you, we can just press shift and alt and then press down, so it's gonna copy everything, and I will be removing these all, and I'll be adding chip itself. Okay, so I created chip with primary. Let's see how it looks. It looking like this, but we need to make it like this. I'll say success chip and then error chip. We can say that. So I'll go to chip. I'll create a type. So before that, I'll create an interface. Okay, interface. I chip props, title, and type. So chip would be, I would say green or success. I'll say green. and one would be red. So there would be two chip here, and I'm gonna pass it to this, and this will be type of, okay, I'll remove this. I'll just use in my interface here, I chip props. So now I have this particular chip. I'll pass the type to it. So type would be green and another would be red. Title would be, we'll say this status, active, and another would be inactive. Yes. And it would be like this. So both have same color for now, but we're gonna again create switch statement and pass those props to it so that we can have, our classes. So I'll create a switch statement here with type, and case would be green, and then it's gonna return, uh, I'll create some, like we created this class, variable here. I'll create same variable there, classes, and then for green, I'll initialize the class with bg green and text white, and then I'll create another case red, and now I'm gonna use this particular class over here. Okay, classes. So let's see how it look like this. But what we want like this. So we're gonna copy this particular color here. So it is 10% of this particular color. So I'll say it green. So I'll go to tailwind.config.css, and now I'm creating a green color. It would be this, and I'll also create one, this color, one red color. So it would be this. So we have created two colors here, red and green, and don't forget to add hash because it will throw error otherwise. So I'll go to chip and I'll say green, or I'll rename it with theme green, theme red, and theme green. So now we have two more colors in our theme. One is theme red and one is theme green. So bg theme green divided by 10. So this will basically add 10% opacity to this particular color. So let's see how it look like. It look like this. Okay, so for this we have 10% of this particular color, and now we have color as theme green. So it will look like this. Great. And we'll do the same for red color. So it would be bg theme red, bg theme red with 10% opacity, and text would be bg theme red. So you see we have both the chips here, and instead of icon we'll say it chips. So we have the two chips here. We'll add some padding to it and we'll make it rounded. We'll add border radius to it. So I'll again go to chip and add P2 rounded MD. So whatever we use for this particular button, we'll use the same P2, PX4, and rounded LG. Let's see how it look like. It will. I'll just copy it and paste it. Same for both. And now you see we have exact same chips whatever we have here, but it look like we are just copying the UI of buttons, but we're gonna reduce the paddings here. So we'll make it P1 and PX2, P1 and PX2. So now it will more look like a chip. So PX should be, I think, 3. PX should be 3 and P1. So now it looks like a chip, like here. So here we have padding. So now we have two chips. We can create more chips here, like blue chip. So we just have to add a type here, like blue, and then we need to find out a blue color. So we can use our blue, which is primary color. So in our case, we can just say blue, and classes would be primary. So BG primary with 10% opacity, and text primary with same padding and border radius. So we don't have that now, but we'll be adding that here. I'll name it primary, and it would be blue chip. So now we have 3 chips here. So this is our third component. But before that, we're gonna add this HR so that it can separate this particular section. So now we have 3 different type of components in our library. We created this particular button, and now we have uh, these icon button and chips as well. So let's create another type of button over here. Let's find out if we can add more buttons. So we can add one more type to our icon button, which would be same as this particular plain button. So let's go to icon button and create another type. Oh, it could be, okay, we don't have any type over here. So we can add another type, which would be plain. So we'll make it optional by just adding question mark, and then we'll add a type plain. So all things would be same. We just adding our type here, which would be plain. So if that thing is plain, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just remove couple of classes. So I'll add another switch case here for this type. Okay, so I'm gonna copy all these classes. So we'll create another variable with classes as blank. So in switch, you're gonna pass type, and then we'll add a case as plain, and then we'll add as all the classes. Basically, we'll add all the classes in default. So let's me break it, and then default would be this. For plain, we're gonna remove the background color, so there would be no background color, and we're gonna just use these classes here in our component. So let's see how it look like. We'll just have to add one more icon button here. The icon would be plus, and title would be plain. So this would be like this, but we haven't specified the type. So we'll say type as plain. So once we have type, it will be plain like this. For these icon button, I think we have to add couple a little padding to the left and right. So I'll go to icon button, and then I'll increase the padding, the X padding to 5. So it's look like a button, or 6. it's fine. We're gonna reduce the vertical padding. Okay, now it's showing some error. Let's see how it is. Okay, so we have these buttons, but here we don't have any background and it's not the center. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna add uh, these flex attribute to it. It will center everything with justify center, and we'll copy this and paste it here. Okay, so we are not having this. Let's see what's the problem is. So we have this switch statement, and then we have these paddings. Okay, let's inspect it and try to find out what's the problem. So we have flex over here, and it should align content to middle. Okay, now it will look like, okay, so we are missing align item center. So item center is the class to make everything centered. So now we have these uh button with centered align text, and we have this. Okay, we have got enough padding, but it's not enough. So px is 4, py is 3, but for other we didn't added this. I'm gonna copy and paste it here. So it will apply to all buttons. Now they are looking good. Similarly, we're gonna use the same paddings for buttons. So I'll just copy it and I'll paste it here. Okay, so now you can understand if we have to change any UI setting, any padding to any of the button, we have to add it everywhere. So to reduce that, what we can do, we can basically add some journal classes. Whatever we are applying to every button, we can move them to directly to the component itself. So instead of classes, we're gonna say classes plus I'll add some general classes. So we're gonna just say plus, and then after a space we can paste everything there, and we can now remove these common classes. Since we are applying these common classes to every button, so we can paste them here, so that if you want to modify them in future, we can just modify at one place and it will apply to all. So now you can see we don't have any UI changes. We are just using those classes at one place. So we can see we have this rounded LG as well. So I'm gonna cut it and paste it over here, so that we don't have to change at every place. So now BG secondary, text primary, and these are the unique classes that we are using for different varieties. So we can leave them as it is. Now let's shift to another component, which is icon button. We're gonna do the same for that particular button. So I'm gonna copy these classes here, whatever are common. So I'm gonna cut and paste them, just concatenate them, and I'm gonna remove this. Okay, rounded LG is also a common class with flex and flex cap, where justify center and item center. So I'm gonna move them here. I'm gonna remove these. Okay, rounded LG also there. So I'm gonna add that here and we'll remove everything. Okay, so we can now remove these classes. Great, let's see if there are any changes. There are no changes because we just move our classes to a common place where any common classes would be. And for unique classes, we have created this classic classes variable. So we'll keep it as it is. Let's see if there are any changes required. So for button, we can also create another, uh, you know, variant, which would be outline button. So let's see if we can create it here. After plane, we can add one more button, which would be outlined. And for that, we can just add our case here, and classes would be border with border primary and text primary. With hover state, we're gonna add some, background classes. So I'll break it and I'll create another component here, which would be outlined, and I'm gonna change the type to outlined. So now we have same type of component but with different UI. So it's solid, it's primary, it's secondary, it's secondary, or we can say plain, and other is outlined. So we have new variants in our button component and one more variant to this plain component. And in this icon button, we can also add outlined icon button. So let's go to there and add one more type, which would be outlined. And then we're gonna add one more case here, case outlined with classes. There's border with border secondary and text secondary, hover with dark secondary, and hover with text white. And then we can add a break here. So let's create this component in our main page. So copy it by just pressing Shift and Alt and down arrow key. Then icon would be icon plus, that's fine, but the type would be outline and title would be outline as well. So now we have it should be there. Okay, so icon plus type is outlined and title is also outlined, but I can't see that. Oh, it's there, but the color was not correct. So let me check the class. Border secondary, text secondary, and so for text secondary, I think we just have to keep the text as it is, as well as the border color. So border would be same, and border with black. Okay, so this would be black border, and the text would be changed. Okay, on hover we also have to change the border color. So instead of border, I would like to use outline because it will not add extra space to it. So I'll say outline. So it will add the outline here, but on hover, I'm gonna change this outline to outline none. So now outline is there, but on hover there would be no outline. Let me zoom it and let me show it to you. Yes. So now we have another variant, a plain variant and outline variant. We'll see if we can just add a different color to it, but for now it's okay, it's fine. We have these chips over here, and we can create another chip that would be secondary chip, but we'll do it later. And in our next video, we're gonna create a card component like this. Okay, let me find out the card component. So it would be like this. This is a whole card component, but it would mostly be like another card component which might be there. Okay, this would be the card component. Yeah, this one. So this is the perfect example of card component. So in our next video, we're gonna create this card component. So thank you so much for watching, and do subscribe. And if you have any question, you can just ask over the comment, and I'll definitely reply to your comment. Thank you so much.